Defying a ban, hundreds of protesters flood the streets of Paris, demanding an end to police violence in the wake of a teenager's killing. Amidst mounting tensions, the fight for justice continues, challenging the denial of institutional racism within France's law enforcement agencies. Welcome to Slant News. If you want to support, you can subscribe to our channel. Hundreds of protesters defiantly marched in central Paris against police violence on Saturday, despite a ban imposed in the aftermath of riots sparked by the killing of a teenager in a Parisian suburb. The protesters gathered at Paris's Place de la République, but the police dispersed the crowd and directed them towards Boulevard Magenta. Surprisingly, the march proceeded peacefully. The Paris Police Department had justified the ban by citing a context of tensions in its decision published on its website. However, many individuals, including Felix Bourrel, a health worker, expressed their disagreement and attended the gathering, emphasizing the importance of preserving the right to freedom of assembly. Not only was the demonstration in Paris prohibited, but authorities also banned a planned protest in Lille, a city in northern France. In Marseille, a march took place, but its route was altered to exclude the city center, as per the authorities' orders. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin disclosed that over 3,000 individuals, primarily teenagers, were arrested during the 6 nights of riots that concluded a week ago. These violent incidents were triggered by the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Nahel M by a police officer during a traffic stop on June 27. The officer in question is now being investigated for voluntary homicide, with his lawyer asserting that he did not have the intention to kill the teenager. Saturday's demonstration was initially organized by the family of Adama Traore, a black Frenchman who died in police custody in 2016. Annual protests have been held since then to demand justice for his death. The organizers attempted to relocate the demonstration to central Paris after it was banned in Beaumont-sur-Oise, the Paris suburb where Traore died. Despite the persistent calls for recognition of institutional racism within the country's law enforcement agencies, French authorities, including President Emmanuel Macron, have consistently denied its existence. Responding to the recent criticism, the French Foreign Ministry refuted the claim that the country's legal system is racist. This denial came in the wake of a statement by the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, CERD, which urged France to address the structural and systemic causes of racial discrimination, including in law enforcement. In summary, hundreds of protesters in Paris marched against police violence despite a ban, following a series of riots sparked by the killing of a teenager. Similar demonstrations were either banned or had their routes altered in other French cities. The protests were fueled by long-standing grievances over cases of police violence and alleged institutional racism. While French authorities and politicians deny the existence of systemic racism, the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination has called on France to address the issue within its law enforcement system. Here we wrap up the news on this topic. And be sure to subscribe to our channel.